What's going on, everybody? Thanks for checking out this video. So we're going to talk about Rings of Power again. I know. It was disrespectful garbage that nobody except the most ardent shills actually enjoyed. But in their inability to just keep their traps shut and accept and admit to their failures, one of the showrunners felt compelled to actually explain to the media why they decided to flat out ignore all of the original source material and just make up whatever the hell they wanted to instead. And to no one's surprise at all, his reason was absolutely stupid. This was just one of the biggest shit shows in modern TV history. The trampling of Tolkien's lore. You know, there really isn't much out there that I love as much as I love The Lord of the Rings. So that's why I really wanted to cover this story, even though the season concluded a while ago. You know, the mainstream media did absolutely everything they could to run damage control for this monstrosity, writing article after article, attacking the fans over and over again, even going so far as to drag the original actors who played Frodo and Sam and Merry and Pippin in on their outrageous campaign to demonize all the fans who wanted a show that was more accurate to the lore and paint us all as racists. And they were all wearing these silly little shirts with different colored elves' ears with the message, "You are all welcome," written in Elvish, as if that was never the case with who is allowed to like The Lord of the Rings, which is on the list of the most popular books in history. Everyone has always been welcome. So yeah, you know the drill, nothing new there. And at the end of the day, all of that did absolutely nothing to help the show's critical success, which garnered a whopping 38% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Man, that nearly $1 billion spent for a single season was really well spent, wasn't it? So prepare yourselves and let's dig into this. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power showrunner explains why they decided to ignore Tolkien's writings and depict their own creation of Mordor. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power showrunner and idiot Patrick McKay explained why he and Prime Video decided to ignore J.R.R. Tolkien's writing and depict their own creation of Mordor. So I will explain right now exactly why they decided to do this. Because they're assholes. The end. I'm half kidding, of course, even though that perfectly sums up why, but it's not the reason he gave, so I guess we'll have to continue. McKay spoke to The Hollywood Reporter about the show's 6th episode that showed the orcs dug a giant tunnel into the heart of a volcano. The tunnel was then filled with water after a dam broke. After the massive flood of water made contact with burning hot lava, it created an explosion that destroyed much of the surrounding land and covered it in ash. By the show's 8th and final episode of the season, Halbrand is revealed to be Sauron. Oh, big surprise that was. And Mordor is shown covered in black with Mount Doom still billowing out smoke and lava pouring down its sides. Do I even need to say that this is not remotely close to the actual lore? No, I should hope not. This was absolute made-up fanfiction crap. McKay explained the scene saying, "A huge theme in Tolkien is the environmentalism and the way machines and industrializations destroys the land. We wanted that to be central and core all the time. It's a thing that comes up again and again throughout the show." He then revealed, "So in the writer's room we asked, what if Mordor was beautiful? All bucolic like Switzerland, and then what could happen that could transform it?" While yes, that is actually correct, environmentalism and industrialization's effect on the land was a theme Tolkien focused on at some points, you know, among many others, but not like how they're doing it. You know, nuance is extremely important here considering he wrote the books during and shortly after the end of the Second World War. To try and act like they were somehow following in his footsteps even though they knew they were making massive changes to his lore is really freaking irritating. We talked about the poisoning of the land, which starts in the first episode with the cow. Then you find out about the tunnels being dug and sulfur is going up into the air. It all builds toward this geologically realistic way of igniting the mountain, which now blacks out the sky for a very practical reason. Adar, our villain, sees the orcs as his people and they deserve a home where the sun doesn't torment them. We're hoping it will take people by surprise, he relayed. Yeah, it did take people by surprise, and not in a good way. They must have been taking writing lessons from Rian Johnson or something. Haha, they'll never see this coming. You know, subverting people's expectations just because is not a good way to tell a story, especially when you're dealing with a story that was well established decades ago. And for the record, Adar is a completely made-up character. I'm really getting tired of Cheeto Galadriel staring at me. However, this is not how Mordor came about at all. In fact, the land was not idyllic or bucolic like in Switzerland. It had repeatedly been hammered by the eruptions of Mount Doom over the years, and thus was the desolate readers and viewers of The Lord of the Rings know. And Bounding into Comics does a perfect job explaining exactly how it actually is written in the books. In The Peoples of Middle-earth, Christopher Tolkien writes in the notes section of the book that the name Mordor was maybe already an Elvish name for that region because of its volcano Orod's ruin and its eruptions, which were not made by Sauron, but were a relic of the devastating works of Melkor in the Long First Age. In the Silmarillion, Tolkien details that Sauron made Mordor his home because of the volcano. He wrote, "There above the valley of Gorgoroth was built his fortress, vast and strong, Barad-dûr, the Dark Tower, and there was a fiery mountain in that land that the elves named Orod's Ruin. Indeed, for that reason, Sauron had set there his dwelling long before, for he used the fire that welled there from the heart of the earth in his sorceries and in his forging, and in the midst of the land of Mordor, he had fashioned the ruling ring." This is exactly why I love The Lord of the Rings so much. The world, the characters, their journeys. You know, everything Tolkien wrote is just so meticulously crafted and is such a blast to read. Even just a few excerpts from it is bringing me so much joy. You know, the article continues a little bit longer, but I think you get the point. They really drilled it down just how much these clowns changed the source material. And for what? Some stupid environmental agenda according to Patrick McKay? But I call bullshit. It was just an excuse to change whatever the hell they wanted to with the books, and to try and frame it like they were just following Tolkien's same themes. Absolute nonsense. And like I was saying before, you know, I know season 1 is long over now, and this video may seem a bit superfluous, but make no mistake, they'll all be back with a vengeance for season 2 before you know it, and you'll wonder how the hell 2 years flew by so fast. Never ever let up on these studios when you're unhappy with the product they've given you, even when many around you are telling you to stop crying. God, you're seriously this mad about it? You're damn right we are. While the people saying things like that are perfectly content to just bury their heads in the sand like cowards, while Hollywood continues to trash all of our beloved franchises without ever pushing back on them, don't let them try to make you feel small for standing up for your passion. You know, I adore The Lord of the Rings. It's just that simple, and I'm always going to fight for it, and I hope you will as well. So, that's it. Let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button and check out one of these other videos I uploaded recently. And consider subscribing if you want more content just like this. I'll catch you guys later.